my fellow simmers and weirdos too. I don't know why I said simmers that time, but yes, my fellow simmers. This is a different competition. Jeez, oh Pete, do I know what I'm saying? I don't think I do. This is a different video than I normally do. So I am part of this autumn collaboration. I will put the details in the comments below, but it would be awesome if you check out the other simmers in this competition's video. It's not a competition, it's a collaboration. So yeah, if you would check out their videos, that would be awesome. So instead of doing a speed build, I decided to do a tour. Now this place is a place I worked at and volunteered at for about 4 to 5 years off and on. It was really near and dear to my heart because I love animals, okay? I love dogs, I love cats, I love turtles, I love bearded dragons, I love snakes. Snakes are a little scary just because of their venoms and their bites, but I still love them and I love the way they move and everything. I worked at a kennel, and that kennel housed a rescue. So I was volunteering with some of the rescue dogs. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about some of the rescue dogs later on, and probably some of the regular boarding dogs because we had quite a few. So let's get right to it. If I can find where I live, because I dropped my mouse and everything went all crazy. So we are in Brindleton Bay in the autumn. That is the collaboration Brindleton Bay. I turned into a vampire for some reason. Brindleton Bay in autumn. Here we go. I am on the 64 by 64 lot, and strangely enough, I don't think the build actually fit because there's so much more lawn in front of the place, okay? This place is quite huge. I'm going to put it in tab mode now so you can see. So this is the pet resort, and I'm actually going to change it. The sign is a little bit different. I'm going to pop a little pet resort thing on there. So as you can see, I'm standing out here with some of my little rescue pups, and we're just going to take a tour of the property real quick. So this is a big open field where we would have craft shows and stuff, actually. So that was pretty cool. Now there isn't a big giant lake here, although we are close to Belleville Lake, but we're not. So this is the dog, what do they call that? Dog run, I guess? You know, where you can take your dogs. Anybody could come out here. They just had to pay $5 and they could let their dogs run loose. Now, you may wonder what these things are here. Oh, if I can not be so jittery. These things were actually pretty cool, and it happened quite a lot. So I would always, every time I was working and the police would come out, I would watch them. But the police actually trained their dogs here. So these little standing walls are where the guy would hide. The perp would hide, and the dog would have to go and find them and then attack them, which was really cool to watch because the commands they used, they were so crisp and clean. The dogs would just stop, you know, right when they'd say it, they would just stop. It was really neat to watch. There's actually an apartment here, and I actually lived in this apartment for about 3 to 4 weeks. So there's like a little playground in the backyard here, and if we go down here, we're going to go into the apartment. Now when I lived in it, it wasn't this nice, but if I stayed living there, I think I probably would have made it this nice. And also, before we go in, this little litter box, it looks like a cat carrier, so I put there was always cat carriers everywhere, but these stones here were actually just, I put them there to represent, we had started a memorial walkway, so people who had lost their pets would come and they could like paint pictures on our sidewalk and stuff, and I thought that was really neat. So if we enter into this little apartment where I lived for a couple weeks, it's just basically a little apartment, not even one bedroom, it's just one big room, but there is like this little alcove here for the bed. Now when I stayed here, there was actually bunk beds in there. Actually, there was a bunk bed frame, but there was also cat cages, because when I stayed there, there were 15 kittens in the room with me. So here's the cute little bathroom. But like I said, this apartment wasn't finished off when I stayed here. They were remodeling it. I'm gonna actually include a quick video of the kittens playing with my dogs. This is the craziness that ensues when we let the kittens out. Poor Jayla's stressed. Bailey is having the time of her life. She can't quite get up on the couch yet. She might never be able to, because I think they said she's full grown. Get out of there, Bailey! There's the kittens. It's hard to catch them. There's 12 of them. There's a group of them right here. Bailey's just like, yep, I want to play too. Let me play. Oh man, I'm running out of battery. I hope I brought my charger. I guess that's it for the kittens. Say bye, baby. So here's the overview of the apartment here. That's pretty neat. We're gonna leave here and come back out to this beautiful, beautiful fall weather out here. I'm leaving it paused because while I do the tour, just because I don't want little Miss Flowur to burn the house down. So this is the lobby. It's pretty interesting, fun little lobby. This bookshelf over here actually had all kinds of dog books in it, so I would learn like different dog breeds and stuff while I was on break. And oh, here I put these police pictures up here to represent the police that were training out in our front yard. And now this is actually a fish tank in the game, but it used to be it wasn't a bearded dragon, it was some other type of dragon. Not dragon, some other type of lizard. Yes, it was a dragon. And there's always a canister of treats right here for the dogs. So technically that's a cookie jar, but whatever. So this was a family-run place. So everything is just kind of disorganized and cluttered. And the people who ran it were crafters. So there's always like yarn everywhere. And we got the cash register, which we didn't actually have a cash register, but I just put it in there for the heck of it, you know. So these doors here that are glass on the top, these actually represent half doors because they were I want to say they're called Dutch doors. But this is the cat room, which doubles as the children's playroom. So, and the break room. Apparently I put a rug on top of newspapers, but that's fine. So this TV right here was for the cats, and they got to watch it all day, every day. And I just put this TV in for the kids because there were literally kids everywhere. The owner had a couple, and the groomer had a couple, and the other groomer had a couple, so there was a lot. So there's another half door here, but before we do, I just want to do a quick peek into this cute little bathroom here because it was always so nice and pretty. And then if you go and zip around this way, you got, yay, oh, look, the cabinet is on the door. I forgot, I scooted it down from 3 squares to not 3 squares. Okay, so we're gonna go into the actual kennel part of it. So this TV screen, which is gone now, I lost a bunch of stuff because these kennels I made out of like half walls and shelves and doggy doors. So I lost a lot of stuff when I tried to save it and then come back. But there's supposed to be a TV monitor here because this is where you would watch all the cameras. And this over here, this bookshelf, there's a freezer and, you know, that's to keep the dog food in. So this shelf right here would house our dryers because we were a full groom kennel. So you put the dog in the kennel and they would be groomed. And so over here we have the washing station, and this little thing here is actually from Journey, but from Batu, but it looks just like the disinfector that I would use to disinfect the kennel. So we have that. And so in this big cage, there's supposed to be one of these is bigger than the others. I think it's this far one. But there was a dog that would come to stay with us, and his name was Apollo. I will put some pictures in here. And he always stayed in that cage. He was just the sweetest, biggest, hugest dog I've ever seen in my life. But they didn't like to be out in the runs, so we would have to take them out for walk-in plays, which was really fun because I got to play with the dogs all day. And these crates right here were used for the drying of dogs when we were doing grooming, when we were doing dog grooming. Now, I was a dog washer for quite a long time. So this is our kennel back here. This is where all the dog food is stored, and I don't know why there's gas masks everywhere, but here's a radio that played all day, every day, just to keep the dogs from being too scared. And this is where we would write down all the dog names and stuff for each run. It had like a line. It didn't look like that at all, but it was just a dry erase board with the name of the dog, how many times they ate a day, and if there was any special like things they needed. And this was actually a corn stove, which we had, this decoration bin is to represent the corn bin that we would have to dump in there. So yeah, It actually heated the whole place, except for during the winter we would have space heaters. So if we walk down here, we can see all these lovely, each one has a little bowl, a dish and a bowl, except I forgot to put food bowls over here. And they also are supposed to have pallets. We would put the beds on them. But yeah, so this is where I used to work, and this one right here is our storage thing. So it's just got hoses and the heaters. I will tell you some of the rescues we had. Now this one right here, this cage here, this is where Cody would usually stay. Now Cody was a boarding dog, but he was with us, I think, more than he was his mother, because she was always boarding him, and a lot of times we just let him loose because he was so friendly. But the reason there is this little ramp here is for the little dogs. They couldn't quite get over that like hump to get out the door, so we would put ramps. We had 2 ramp runs and then a third one that we could make into a ramp run. That's where the little dogs or the old dogs would go. Let's see, down this way we would always have TJ. TJ was in this one. He was a bit food aggressive, but he was really super friendly otherwise, and he did eventually get adopted. So, and then next to TJ always was Lucy. These are rescue dogs, by the way. TJ and Lucy are rescue dogs. Lucy was, TJ was a Jack Russell, and Lucy was a fox, a wire-haired fox terrier. I don't remember, but she looked just like a Jack Russell. But she was one of the meanest dogs I've ever met. She was so angry all the time, and I was sitting here going, no one is ever gonna adopt her. I'm so like worried for her. So I went and I would try to pet her and try to love her, and she would just bite at me every time. Finally, she did get adopted. Well, one day I was in the lobby and I was sitting on the floor taking my break, and these people came in to board their dog, and it was a little Jack Russell, and I was like, oh, what a sweet dog. And the dog just jumped in my lap and started licking my face. I'm like, wow, what's her name? And they're like, that's Lucy. And I was like, what? So basically what I'm trying to say is when a dog is in the kennel, they're very scared, and it's a very traumatic time for them. So it's really hard for dogs in the kennel, and a lot of times their personalities will change once you adopt them because of that. Now, down in this area, there was a dog called Tyson. He was a Rottweiler. I don't think I actually have a picture of Tyson, but he was a boarding dog, and I would always like stick my fingers in the cage and he would bite at him. And there was also another dog. He was a husky. His name was Jax. He was a boarder, and he would always scream the whole time he was there, just rah, 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 because he was, you know, huskies, and huskies like to talk. So I always knew when Jax was there. So we're going to go through here. This is actually the grooming room, which I don't think I actually finished. Oh, there was supposed to be one more table, but I couldn't really figure it out. So this is supposed to be a vacuum, and this is the sink drain. I think that's an eco upgrade part. But this is where I spent most of my time when I worked here, because I was a dog washer, so I pretty much just sprayed dogs all day. And this actually wasn't a bookshelf, it was a shelf, but it had, you know, like shampoos and ear cleaners and toothbrushes and stuff like that, everything you would need to groom a dog. And also grooming supplies, which I forgot to add in here. And this is actually wow, I put the crappy one in here. This is a vet table in the game, but it's to represent the grooming table, because we did have one that they could climb up on, and then it would raise up in the air once they climbed up on it. So when I was studying grooming, which I studied for about a year before I decided that I could not be a groomer. So yeah, I would always use that table. So we come out here. This is the poop bucket. I don't know exactly what it is in the game, but this is the one, the short side, I guess we would call it. This right here, it's called pea gravel. So when I first started working there, I didn't know it was actually PEA gravel. I thought it was PEE gravel, because the dog runs were slanted, so when they peed, the pee would like run out into the gravel. And so I just thought it was PEE gravel until someone said, no, that's the name of it. It's pea gravel. So if we come back here, this fence wasn't here when I worked here, so they added it later, but I had to stick the hose through these little fence holes to get back here to these kennels. So I was always mad when they had to put kennels back here. But these ones right here are different than the other ones, because if you can see, they're all fence over there, but these ones had metal on them, and that is because those are for the dogs that couldn't be with other dogs. Either they were too aggressive or they were just scared of other dogs. So, and it was boarding and volunteer dogs. So, not volunteer dogs, rescue dogs. So, we come around the back here. That's just an entrance back into it. And we come up this way. And I have a lovely picture of a Great Dane playing in the backyard playing in this run. This is where we would take the dogs for a walk-in place, but we had to take the Great Dane and we had to stay out there with him because he was big enough to like jump the fence. Now this run right here, this is where I always let my dogs stay because I am cool like that. But this is a double run. This is for bigger dogs because I had 2 dogs and I figured, you know, they'd feel safer here. But it's a bigger run than the other ones. Now, during the summer, we would usually keep the doors open because it was hot, but in the winter, we would always close the doors. We called them guillotine doors, which scared me really badly because you know, a guillotine is meant to chop heads off. So whenever you'd have to pull this string to open the door, and they were made of sheet metal. So I was just terrified that I was going to drop one and like kill one of the dogs. Never did. If we come back in, I guess that's the entire tour, but I'm going to come back in this room because I want to tell you about one of our rescues named Marky. We'll go in the lobby and I will show you the picture. I have a lot of pictures of Marky because he was near and dear to my heart. We had a lot of trouble getting Marky adopted out because he was what I call a talker. He was basically a grumpy old man in a dog's body because he just all the time. Like, I wanted to adopt him and name him Taz because he sounded just like the Tasmanian devil. But one time I had him and a dog I was going to adopt, my little Bailey. Yeah, so I had Bailey, Jayla, and Marky all in my bedroom, and I was in the apartment. This is when I lived there, but I was sitting on the bed, which was this fold-out couch at the time, and I had Bailey up there and Marky and Jayla, and I had Bailey on one side and Marky on the other, and I was petting them both, and Marky just got really jealous and snapped at Bailey. And Bailey thought he was playing, so Bailey jumped at him and was like trying to play, and Marky got mad and snapped again. So I said, "That's it, you're going to your cage," or your crate, because we didn't call them cages there, we called them crates. And Marky jumped off the bed, and I was like, "I was gonna let you sleep with me, but now you can't because you're biting the puppy." And so we were walking back, I was walking him back to his crate, and he was going, blah, 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 blah. Like the whole way. It was so funny. It just sounded like he was talking back to me. So yeah, that is the story of Mark. Let's see, there's another dog named Gunther. He was a St. Bernard mix. He was my favorite. I played with him all the time. He was a rescue. And there's Mishka. So Mishka was sitting in a bucket right here. I don't know why. She must have thought there was water in it. I don't know. She was just sitting there. And then when I was scooping the poop one time, she stole my glove and ran away with it. So I took a picture of her with my glove. I was going to adopt Mishka, but she didn't get along with my other dog. So I did not. Now Daisy is my other dog. I did not adopt her from the Loving Arm Rescue Ranch, which is the rescue that had their dogs in here. But I did get her from the Michigan Humane Society, and that's a whole nother story, but she is the dog at the beginning and end of all of my videos. She died in 2019, so that's a very sad story. But one of the happiest stories here, I'm gonna come back here and show you where I met the love of my life. Okay, and I'm not talking about a human. I am talking about this little rugrat who is sleeping next to me right now. Her name is Jayla, and they had her all the way back here because she was afraid of other dogs. So she was in one of these runs, but she would sit in here and just cower in the corner the whole time. She wouldn't go out the door. She was afraid of the guillotine, which I am not picking on her about that because the guillotine was very scary. She was so afraid to go out, and I just felt so bad for her that whenever I would scoop, I would take her out, and she would come out here and she would just lay in the sun. I remember she would always lay right over here in this little patch of grass, and she would just lay in the sun. I was scooping one time and I had like boogers dripping out of my nose, And she came up to me and she licked the boogers from my nose. And I know that's really gross, but it was just so cute. So when the kennel said that we had to find homes for the rescues for Easter, like people to foster them because they were going to be full. During the holidays is when it's like a rush, so they always wanted to get the kennels to be fully usable. So I said I would foster little Jayla, and I took her home in the understanding that I would have her for 2 weeks, I think, over Easter, and I ended up keeping her. I have her to this day, 8 years later. So yeah, she is my foster failure. There was this puppy. Her name was Princess, and she was the cutest little puppy. Here's a picture of her. So I told you about the kittens, but I didn't tell you about my kittens. So during the time we had the 12 rescued kittens, when I was going to move into the apartment, I decided that I was going to get a cat because my family is allergic to cats. Yeah, so I was like, okay, I'll get a cat. And there were 3 kittens that they needed medicine because they were sick. So I took them. I will put pictures of them here now. Jayla helped me by cleaning Romeo. Their names were Romeo, Shiloh, and Tigger. So, yep, those were going to be my kittens, but when I moved out of the apartment, I couldn't take them with me. So they just got adopted out. Well, one time I went into the cat room and I saw this cat and I was like, wow, this is a really pretty cat. And the lady who was working at the time said, hey, you remember those kittens you raised? That was one of them, and it was Shiloh. So here's a picture of her cuddling on my head. She immediately recognized me, but one of the scary stories we had is these cat doors would open on their own. But one time my mom was waiting for me, to get done with work, and she was sitting here and that door was open, and she watched as right where that little doorknob is, she watched this cat just stick his paw out. He opened the door a little bit, pulled it inwards. He stuck his paw out. It wasn't a doorknob, it was a latch, and he unhooked the latch, opened the door. He would get out of the cage and roam freely. This is the pet resort, and I hope you like this video. It's a bit different for me, format wise. But if you did like this video, please click the like button and subscribe to my channel to see more videos. Maybe not so much like this one. Maybe I will do some more tour/story videos. And remember to always stay weird because weirdos rule. And also remember, don't shop, please adopt. I hope you liked this video. I will talk to you guys later, and please watch the videos of all the other people in this collaboration because they worked really hard on their videos and they're probably way better than mine. Alright, I will talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching. Bye!